understood the macro environment, the India demand story, and the pricing dynamics, both global and domestic. But in a market like this, where prices are influenced by so many moving variables, the real question for industry participants is how do you manage risk? How do you navigate volatility? And how do you translate market understanding into actionable strategy? Because ultimately, price is not just a number, it is a risk that need to be managed. And to bring in that very important dimension, we have with us Mr. Ameya Bhagwat, Product Manager, Base Metals at Multi Commodity Exchange of India Limited. Ameya closely works with market participants across the value chain and has deep insights into how hedging strategies are evolving in response to changing market dynamics. He'll be sharing his perspective on hedging strategies in a volatile zinc market, covering how participants can use exchange platforms effectively in the current scenario. Emma, the floor is yours. So let's have your perspective on the risk management and hedging.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, BigMint and Metal Trendzz, for providing me with this opportunity to speak on such a forum. I would like to take my 5 minutes to talk about this one thing which Dina ma'am has already highlighted, that every physical zinc player in India should be doing, but many of the value chain participants do not, which is hedging. Why? Because zinc market right now is extremely unpredictable and not unstable, which has also been highlighted by Ronak's presentation, where he's shared that the volatility has increased by 15%, from 15% to 22%. This is driven by tariff news, Chinese demand and supply signals, forex moves, and all of these are factors that none of us can predict or control in any way. For Indian buyers and sellers or Indian physical market participants, MCX Zinc becomes a practical tool to manage this price risk and margin protection. It is an exchange traded and accessible platform without any foreign account or overseas market access, and it is built for the kind of exposure that we as the market participants currently carry. Let's look at this from a simple example. Let's say your galvanizer working with a margin of 8% or so. You receive an order from a client in April, you fix that selling price, and you plan to procure zinc over the next 30 to 45 days. Between the day you fix that selling price and the day you actually purchasing, let's say the zinc prices move up by 9%. Then the margin that you have set, which is about 8% or so, is now gone. Or in some cases, it could even be worse. You have fulfilled order, you have completed your work, and despite that, you have made a loss. This is not a rare scenario. This is something that has happened frequently in the last few years due to the high volatility in the market. And it is something that must have happened to some of the business that you might know yourself. A simple buy hedge on exchange would have, at the time you fix the sale, would have helped you protect that margin. This is the logic which is not just limited to how galvanizers work. It also works for importers who carry a 30 to 60 days of a stock between their purchase and sale, or die casting manufacturers or alloy manufacturers who purchase copper and zinc to work through their purchase costs and all, and help maintain their margin. In each case, the hedge basically becomes a mirror of the physical book. It is not any kind of speculation. It is a trade. It is a pure book hedge position against your physical book. Now, one more point or benefit that I would like to bring to notice and is usually not discussed when hedging is brought into the picture is the income tax benefit. Under Section 43(5) of the Income Tax Act, if you are in a physical commodity business and you make a hedge loss on that specific business, you are able to consider that hedge loss as a business loss, and you can set it off against your profits to get some tax relief. So, for example, you are working in zinc physical business and you have hedged on a recognized exchange in the zinc commodity. Let's say you make a loss on that hedge. In that case, you can consider it a business loss, set it off against your business profit, and are able to get a tax relief. This is covered under Section 43(5), and in a way, the Income Tax Act is basically rewarding you for hedging on MCX. It will be considered like any other business expense. And this is basically a free benefit that is sitting on the table for covered in the under the law. One more objection or misconception that I would like to highlight that I hear usually is, what if I hedge and prices fall? What if I give up that benefit when I have hedged? But you should not look at hedging as a way to make money or anything of that sort. Hedging is purely about margin protection and price risk management. Why? Because your business is working on or processing or trading on a margin of 6 to 10% in zinc specifically. That is the engine of your business, and hedging will protect that engine. Any unhedged adverse move or a negative move of zinc prices can undo several good quarters that you might have had previous. So hedging can help you manage that. Why? Because one more factor that comes to the picture here is that the brokerage, exchange fees, the margins involved in hedging, those are actually small and already known in advance, according to which you can plan your business activities. But the cost of not hedging will be large, and you will not know it until it actually hits you in some way. One more additional benefit to this activity, which proves that you are able to confidently quote your prices because you know your margins for that particular quote will be protected, and you will be able to process accordingly. So your management can actually focus on your business instead of, let's say, watching MCX prices every morning and choosing to make your procurement decision based on those price directions, which is an additional benefit that you can get out of it. And one more factor, it's specifically to MCX prices, which I would like to highlight, is that MCX prices are all-inclusive. So be it premiums, be it duty, be it ocean freights, and all those factors are already considered under MCX price. The only factor which is not considered in the price is the inland freight from the warehouse to your plant location and the GST. So it will allow you to MCX price basically captures everything and will allow you to hedge accordingly. So to basically close this my perspective on this is that zinc market is extremely volatile and event driven. For anyone who is running on thin margins without any risk management framework. But you have MCX platform in India, which gives you Indian physical players a tool to manage this price risk. And like I mentioned previously, the Income Tax Act also goes a step further and incentivize you to hedge by ensuring that your hedge losses are treated as legitimate business losses, basically allowing you to get tax relief whenever you have facing a hedge loss. You will never be able to control or predict how the zinc prices move or go. You can, but you can control whether or not that affect your margin and whether or not those affect your businesses. That choice is basically in your hand. So thank you very much for allowing me to uh, speak about this topic specifically.